More than 70 million people worldwide stutter. That is just 1% of the population, but that is a lot of people. People who stutter have been viewed as being less intelligent than people who do not stutter. Stuttering is pretty common. Most families have at least one family member that stutters. Today, I'm here to share a little bit about what I've learned about stuttering. Growing up, I was always around older people. I would pick their brains and ask questions. A lot of times when they'd get passionate about a topic, they would get to stuttering and stammering. I never understood why they would repeat the first part of their words or repeat the same word over and over. Today, I'm going to share with you why people stutter, the different types of stuttering, and how to communicate with people who stutter. Most people don't understand why people stutter, so now I'm going to explain. Stuttering is when the flow of speech is interrupted by involuntary motions. Stuttering is a speech impediment that affects the flow of speech. People who stutter tend to repeat the first part of a word or sentence when they get stuck. People who severely stutter will often give up or move on to another word with the same meaning that is easier to pronounce or easier for them to get out. The reasons why people stutter are being figured out by medical professionals. Studies show that 60% of people who stutter have a family member who stutters. It is believed that there are 4 genes responsible for stuttering. When the four genes control intercellular traffic, and when the genes mutate, they aren't as effective directing intercellular traffic. The same mutation is found in over 20% of people who stutter. Stuttering typically starts during early childhood between the ages 2 through 5. When the children cannot get out what they're trying to say, 75% of kids who stutter grow out of it by age 5. For the small number of children who do not stop by the age of 5, stuttering can turn into a major problem. Children who stutter often go through bullying and teasing by their peers, and that doesn't help them grow at all. Growing up, I would feel bad for the kids who stutter because they would often get mocked and shamed because of the way they talked. Now I'm going to explain why people stutter. Now that I've explained why people stutter, I'll talk about the different types of stuttering. There are 3 different types of stuttering. Developmental stuttering, which is the most common form of stuttering, is typically seen in children from ages 3 to 8. Developmental stuttering starts when kids undergo intensive speech and language development. It tends to worsen as the children speak in front of people. They tend to get shy. More than 75% of preschool age kids recover from developmental stuttering. The second part of stuttering is neurogenic. This form of stuttering is rare and occurs after a traumatic brain injury such as a stroke. The third type of stuttering is psychogenic. Psychogenic stuttering is also rare and occurs in adults with a history of psychiatric illness or emotional trauma. While these forms of stuttering are similar due to the repetition of words, they have several contributing factors that differentiate them from one another. The difference between developmental stuttering and neurogenic stuttering is that it does not occur with secondary behaviors such as eye blinking, jaw shaking, or head movements. The secondary behaviors are learned approaches that are used to minimize the severity of the stutter. Psychiatric stuttering is different from the 2 other forms of stuttering because of the fact that they are caused by a traumatic experience. Now I will explain how to respectfully talk to someone who stutters. Just because someone talks differently than you does not mean they do not deserve respect when speaking. While engaging in conversation with someone who stutters, treat them the same as you would with someone who does not stutter. Be patient and do not finish what they are trying to say. In other words, don't finish their sentences for them. Allow them to get their complete thoughts out. Don't ask them to slow down or repeat what they say. That can be frustrating and often viewed as disrespectful. Speak calmly and slower than you normally would. Don't rush words out their mouth that will likely cause them to stutter. And lastly, don't interrupt them. Instead, ask them to explain anything you don't understand. When talking to someone who stutters, try not to stereotype them. There are plenty of myths regarding stuttering. The most popular misconceptions have been disregarded, such as people who stutter being less intelligent than people who do not. Another myth regarding stuttering is that nervousness causes stuttering. Research shows that stuttering is likely related to genetics. When talking to someone who stutters, do not tell them to think before they speak. This will only make them self-conscious when they're speaking. Today I covered 3 areas of stuttering: why people stutter, the different types of stuttering, and how to respectfully communicate with someone who stutters. People who stutter aren't any different from people who do not stutter, and they deserve respect when speaking.